basic expectations you should have of your boyfriend. He should pay for everything, and if you're young and he's not at that place, he should be working as hard as he can to be able to one day pay for everything. That's how it works. That's literally how it works. He should tell you immediately when he wants to date you. Your husband wouldn't want you to feel an ounce of anxiety, nonetheless, over him. He should understand that you're always right. You're a woman. He should be so excited to text you that if he doesn't text you for like an hour, you think he's dead. He should always show up looking his best and looking well dressed. You earned your place. Now you have to keep it. He should do everything for you. You think holding a bag in front of a man is humiliating to him. He should feel viscerally embarrassed if you pick something up. This is like, it just might just be me, but I love when men do it. And I love when they have like basic hygiene skills. That's grinds my gears.
Okay, well, and we wonder why you don't want to date us and you definitely don't want to marry us. I guess we don't have a mirror or any self-reflection, but I feel like the evidence is right there. Just go to TikTok. If anybody's wondering why the men are walking away in droves, especially Gen Z men, this is what you have to choose from. You can't blame them. We're going to get into it. Welcome back to Far From Eden. I found an article very recently in the last couple of days from The Independent, which is out of the UK. And the headline shocked me. And I think it'll shock you guys too. Listen to the headline. It's not me, it's you. Why women are the reason men are giving up on dating. You never see that. You never see that in any kind of mainstream media. And so, of course, I have to bring it to you guys. It's a little less impressive than it sounds, but we're going to dissect it. And I'm going to show you a couple specimens like we did off the top, just in case. And I know it'll shock a lot of you guys, just in case there are still some men out there that don't know this is happening, that don't know that they actually have the right to say no, that they actually can be like, no thanks. Game is rigged. I'd rather not. You're allowed to do that. Just look at the comments. You're totally allowed, right? And most men don't think they are allowed to do that. So we'll get started with this article, and then we'll switch back because I got a couple other ladies to show you. It's not me, it's you. Why women are the reason men are giving up on dating. This was published Monday, November 17th, last year. So pretty recently. It was written by a woman, Olivia Petter. There are more of us that are realizing this. So it did shock me that a woman wrote this. It's usually some form of a beta male giving it a beta type of spin. Okay. Starts off with little letters, barely can see it. Some 62% of men believe that women have too many expectations of how men should be in relationships. 62% of men. And it's mainstream media, so you can add another 10% to that. And if you're not sure that you can adjust the stats that way, just look at the gender pay gap and the percentage of times it's the woman who files, because mainstream stuff, stats, everything. Remember, it's coming out of universities. And it's definitely leftist, definitely skewed towards feminism. You can give those stats a little bump. So the problem with heterosexual dating has been identified. Women expect too much men. Can't disagree. My reading of a new survey of 2,000 British men and women between the ages of 18 and 45, produced by Equimundo, a US-based nonprofit organization working on international research to engage men and boys as allies in gender equality, and that men have simply had enough of us. I'm really excited when I see actual truth, because you just don't. So, interestingly, coming out of Britain, this is the land of that movie or miniseries Adolescence, completely geared towards how bad toxic masculinity is. With elementary school kids and middle school kids. That's Thomas the Train. That's there. They are fighting toxic masculinity hard. I did another story where these female cops are jogging, in these little spandex pants and, trying to look like those chicks at the gym who film themselves like squatting, and they're like filming behind them to see if any guy just like glance for a second to see what the heck is this woman doing. And they're like, oh my God. Anyway, so these jogging police officers are there to catch the cat callers. No joke. And that's going on in England. So yeah, you got a problem. There's a problem all over the West. But England is a great example of how to do it wrong as far as gender dynamics. Let's check out another chick who has absolutely perfectly reasonable expectations. And yeah, there's some sarcasm there. That's how you get around some of the robots. And you go, well, this is a comedy channel, right? You got to do things to get truth out. And if you've noticed, a lot of the comedians are actually the ones with the takes that you're not allowed to have because it's comedy, right? This particular girl is both an example and a warning. Not every man knows that you need to be wary of the girl with the simp dad. You think, wow, she's such a good relationship with her dad. It's wonderful, blah, blah, blah. Put those brakes on, sir, because that can be one of the worst things. Sometimes when a girl has a dad like the one she's going to describe, it's almost worse than if the dad was out of the picture. I am not kidding. And I think when you see her describe, well, you'll understand what I'm saying. And for those men who are determined to swim with the sharks, aka still date because they're sure there are good women out there and they're going to find one. And I'm not saying there aren't good women out there. I'm just saying, how can you tell? And if she's good, will she stay that way? You just don't know about people, right? And there's a lot of societal influences, TikTok being one of them, that sort of pull us towards prioritizing everything except for family. And, I'm just bored, or like, it doesn't give me the tingles anymore. So I guess I'll just walk away because I deserve more. But that's another topic. We'll cover that on another video. But take it away, Blondie.
Why my standards in men are so high. I'm dating, when I'm talking to a man, in my male friends, all of it is so high because I was raised by a man that quite literally would drive 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours at midnight with a busy day tomorrow to pick me up if I needed it. Every time I come home and my gas is low, not full to the brim, my dad's filling it up. A man in my life forever doing all of these things. He called me the prettiest girl in the world. I grew up thinking I was the prettiest girl in the world, along with my sister and my mom.
Do you see it now? You have to be really careful of girls that have dads like this and dads Don't do this. Dads, don't do this with your daughters. I know that even if, if you're divorced from the mother, you sort of want to make up for it. You want her to feel good around you. You want her to have confidence and you love her so much. Don't do this. This creates a nightmare for the future husband, future boyfriend. No man can live up to this at all. They just can't. Like, you're setting a trap. Excuse me, because people might see her and be like, oh, she's, a certain way, or she's traditional, and she's just, yeah, maybe, but traditionally in that, provide everything and do everything. And what does she do? I don't know. She hasn't said, but what do you get the feeling is that, what does she think she needs to contribute for this? Or is it just her existence? Because I'm getting just her existence. And by the way, if you hear some running of water over there, it's because it is freezing outside. And if I don't keep water running, pipes will freeze and burst. So welcome to where the weather can be extreme. And sometimes it's steady and I can't hear it. And other times it does that drip sound. So we are in my apartment, in my living room. So you're going to hear Thomas. You're going to hear the faucet. You might hear the refrigerator start running. I apologize for all those things, but at least, feel like you're at home and invited. So let's continue with what she has to say, but we needed a break.
And my female dog. But I grew up with that standard. I grew up with, if I came home with bags, before I could even look to pick it up and bring it upstairs to my room, it would already be in my room because he would do that for me. There is this expectation a lot of us have lost, and that our boundaries aren't there for men to not open the doors, for men to not need to take your stuff, can't even roll your bag when you're in the airport. There is so pay for your dinner. Now they want to split it. I understand that women need to come in with doing things on their end as well, because you're only going to get what you're giving in some way, shape, or form. But if I'm giving you respect, children, love, care, emotional support, physical support, then I should be treated chivalrous.
They always do that. Emotional support, respect. I didn't hear anything about submission. I didn't hear anything about anything specific. You know what I mean? These are not duties and responsibilities. You're not giving him children. Like, that's just not the attitude. And I don't agree with this. Well, I had children and I'm a mother, therefore worship me. No. Look, when I grew up, I'm just going to share something. Sometimes my mom hit absolute home runs when she was raising me. But if you've seen any of my content, it was either striking out or a home run. And here's where she hit a home run, because she said to me, you're not going to get, complimented or all this stuff because you cleaned your room, because you unloaded the dishwasher, because you went down and blanketed your horse. You're not going to get praise for that. Why? These things are expected of you. She is talking about the bare minimum. In her, if I could put it in her defense, she really doesn't know any better, because where was she going to learn that? And she clearly can't see the imbalance. You deserve chivalry. Run when you hear the word deserve, right? That is red flag. Deserve. No, you don't. You don't deserve whatever. You don't. What does he deserve? It's a little weak on that point. A bit weak on that point. And don't be so thirsty and don't be so desperate for love that you just accept this. Because whatever the things are that I'm pointing out are going to get worse as time goes on. Because people get tired of each other. That's just natural. You get irritated. Life gets harder. So that bare minimum, think about the tough times. It's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough to sustain. You need core principles like duty, honor, not just respect, submission. Somebody has to be the leader. I hate using the word submission because it's always skewed as, oh, he's just gonna, be a tyrant. No, he isn't. No, he isn't. And there's a few men that would do that, but mostly not. And honestly, we got to start taking responsibility for choosing losers and felons. We go to that teeny tiny percent of men that are going to treat us badly and then paint all the men with that brush. And whose fault is that? It's not the men's fault.
Men in my life that are just friends, quite literally, would do anything. Crying or having a tough day, they will ask. They will pay for a meal. They will not let me carry my bag upstairs. They will still do it, not thinking that they're getting anything sexually from me. That's the type of men I surround myself with.
Good for you. You're going to be single a long time. And if you do catch one because you're setting a trap, then he's just not lucky. He doesn't understand, that he's in a trap until it clamps shut. So let's get into more of this article. Some 62% of men believe that women have too many expectations of how men should be in relationships these days. Meanwhile, 44% remained resistant to change, agreeing that they would have to change too much about themselves in order to make a serious relationship work long term. Exactly. Change too much about themselves, like change what they expect in a relationship. Become more beta, like what she's describing? Probably. I dropped the pepperoni. We're having a real professional time, aren't we? Oh my goodness. Oh, change too much about themselves in order to make a serious relationship work long term. Another 41% believed that having a relationship was too big a financial commitment. Yeah. And risk. Did you hear those two ladies? There were some common threads. He needs to pay for everything. Oh my God, I can't believe that we have to split it now. Oh yeah? Okay. You want to split everything else? You want to split everything else. You want him to pay for everything. You want him to be chivalrous, pick up the bag, shouldn't even be holding a bag, etc. No. These are bleak findings, made more so by the fact that a quarter of men said they believed no one would fall in love with them. Right. Because these women, with their expectations, mean that most men are invisible to them because they're not good enough, especially like on dating apps and everything where it's like, ooh, let's look at what he looks like. She's going to veto him right away if he's under 6 feet. She's going to look at what he makes. And she's going to veto him. If he has an average salary, which is perfectly respectable, he's out the door. I mean, he's kicked out the door. It really is that bad. And I know this firsthand because my friends and I have dated men who've reflected these views back at us. There was the guy who, after 3 months, explained he wasn't ready for a relationship. A week after trying to book a Christmas holiday together. So she's trying to book a Christmas holiday together. And he's like, yeah, no. Yeah, dude, you're a sleeper. That is what 304 math. If you don't know what 304 means, type it in a calculator, turn it upside down and read what it says. 304 math, who's a creator on YouTube, he explains this so well. And I always refer to it because I don't think it has ever been explained better, but there's a keeper category that men have for women. There's a sleeper category that men have for women, and I think you can figure out what that is. And there's a sweeper category that men have for women. And that's when you're just like, yeah, no, I don't really want to be seen with you. You're kind of like an oops. It was a slow night and you were there. Anyway, if he's trying to book a Christmas holiday, you're trying to book a Christmas holiday with him. And he's like, yeah, I'm not ready for relationships. You're trying to force something on him. You know, you might even be in a situationship and not realize it. But they'll do that. They'll try to force it on you and kind of like, well, you led me to believe blah, blah, blah. Because their trap didn't work. There was one who 4 months in told me I was too demanding of him. An accusation spurred on by my attempt at booking a restaurant for us after his work drinks. Did you see it again? There's a little section in the Bible I just want to refer to, and it is love does not demand its own way. You're not going to force somebody into a relationship. There are so many men out there that actually do want relationships, but as we just read in this article, they're invisible. I would like to ask this Olivia girl, do you ever acknowledge their existence? Do you ever see the good in them? Or are you looking at, will he pay for everything? Will he always carry my bags, this and that? But you want equal pay. You want everything else equal, actually skewed more in your favor. And yet he's got to pay for everything. He's got to do everything. He's got to speak to you a certain way. He's got to read your mind. And if he doesn't, well, just take half his stuff. I mean, probably deserves it, right? I mean, she's probably going to talk that way to her girlfriends about you. I've heard it myself. Disgusting. And there were myriad others who, after weeks of dating, would scare at the first sign of any conversation about where we might be heading. It was and is a pattern so prolific that it has almost become boring when a relationship ends this way, because all of us always see it coming. It's not really a relationship, is it? If you're just dating him, trying to make it into something else. This is because you're not having that conversation on the first date as a woman, and you're not having that conversation on the first date because you don't want to scare him yet. You're going to start to have it when you think you've got him on the hook. I'm just giving a little inside baseball about how our minds work and why we do the things we do. Because I understand that I know that we're the same species, but we're not really the same species, are we? We think so much differently. Our tactics are different. Our priorities are different, you know. So it needs some explanation. And a lot of the red pill guys have an idea of the way we think, but half the time I'm like, oh, it's way worse than that. You will have more pepperonis in a moment, ma'am. If you're new here, I'm talking to Lola, and you might be like, oh, that's obnoxious. The people who watch this show, the guys who watch this show, they love her. So, yeah. Okay. And by the way, if you think this content is necessary, if you're enjoying it, please give a like on the video. It makes such a difference. It's really the only thing that YouTube cares about. And if it's going to instruct any other men, we have to get it out there. So if you could hit the like, I'd really appreciate it. It would be easy to write this off as an epidemic of commitment phobia and avoidant attachment styles. But as the study shows, there's a lot more to it than that. 15% of men surveyed said they've interacted with an AI or virtual partner. Are men giving up on dating altogether and instead putting all their demands? I found the blue-haired feminism. I found it. Oh, for a second, you're like, oh, okay, well, she kind of gets it. She understands they're walking away and that maybe we have too many expectations. And there you go. Do you see the jealousy of the AI? the resentment that men are choosing something different, a robot instead of us. So, well, here come the insults. Notice she didn't say that we have demands. We have expectations. We have some standards that are kind of the problem, and it's very nuanced and everything, the left's favorite word. But no, you men, you have demands. Pay attention to the teeny little words. It matters. It matters. I'm not splitting hairs. It really does matter. It is the insight into what people are thinking, particularly women. We choose our words very carefully, like we're all attorneys and PR managers. We really do. And we notice it in other people too. That's why women know women, because we catch stuff like this. All right, back to the demands. I'll show you some demands from a chick on TikTok in a second. I'll show you what demands look like. Here, we're going to read it again. Are men giving up on dating altogether and instead putting all their demands onto digital women who are programmed to behave and speak exactly how they want? Look, I'm going to speak for a lot of the men that I've spoken to, that have spoken to me, that have educated me on what the deal is with this AI stuff and some of the robots even. There are channels on YouTube that are just sounds of women. Just gentle sounds like breathing, saying here or there. There's ones for the chicks too, but it's really not the same. The men's tend to be more relationship minded. The women's tend to be more physically minded, if you know what I'm saying. We've used the word hanky panky on the channel, because YouTube will clutch its pearls. Men would not choose to have something that they have to program. They want a living, breathing woman. And this is ideally, I'm not saying that's what they want right now, because you can't want something that doesn't exist. You see the unicorn? Anyway, they would rather have a real live woman who chooses to be with them, who chooses to love them, actually love them, right? Who understands that following his lead and contributing to his life in a valuable way, a way that he sees valuable. I mean, I'm not saying that it just goes one way. He needs to see value in you. You're bringing value to him, actual value, specifically the types of things that help him. We are, after all, the helpmeet. And then and only then should the other person have any sort of expectations. And they shouldn't be overblown like daddy's girl a second ago. All right, I got a little worked up. Perhaps, but I suspect something deeper is going on. Of course you do. Of course you do. Not least because more than 40% of the men surveyed said they have thought about going through the self-checkout line, if you know what I mean, and just exiting stage left of life. In the past 2 weeks, with more than 2/3 reporting symptoms of anxiety and distress. Men are in crisis. And it's not anything to be ashamed of. You shouldn't be ashamed of it. I mean, the game is rigged. Society really kind of hates you. Everybody else is privileged above you. It's your fault for everything. You've colonized the entire world. How dare you? How dare you? You've colonized the whole world, right? You've tried to rule over women, blah, blah, blah. You know what that does to a man? You know what that does to any person, but it's being done to men. So you know what that does to them? It does that. It does 40% of men surveyed said they have thought about going through the self-checkout line, or, partially so. In the past 2 weeks, 2 weeks, this is never, ever, ever happened in the history of the world. When they were going to World War I and World War II and all that was happening, we didn't have this issue. We didn't have overwhelming stats of men going through the self-checkout line that we do now? We just didn't. All the times in history, and we can just look at modern history to make it a little easier and a little more reliable, since we have some relatives that were alive then. We didn't have this situation. I don't even remember it being a situation when there were like prisoners of war, right? Those people still had a reason to carry on. Imagine being in the trenches in World War I, and you're like, I'm going to carry on. But now you're not. Nothing makes me matter. Yes, dating men can feel difficult. How do you say that in the next breath? This is what men are going through. This is the crisis that men are in. Oh my God, dating them feels difficult. Again, why are we confused? Why you're done? Why are we confused by that? I have no idea. And hopefully there are some women that are watching this. I know there are some women who follow my channel, and I'm very grateful for that. We have got to scream this information out. This is a crisis. All alarm bells, all hands on deck. Women need to be all hands on deck. Our men are hurting. Our men are in crisis, and we have put them there. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's really bad. It's so bad. We can't survive without them. We can't. The men who built this society and keep it running. You can't invite out-of-towners and have them run it. Just not going to work. They're not the ones that built it. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work. So that's a very dark future. And sometimes I wonder, are we the useful idiots in this situation? Is that why the politicians and all the propaganda is geared towards us? It's the only way they could get us to turn against you. Giant psyop. I think we're living in a psyop, but okay. Yes, dating men can feel difficult. Trust me, I know. And obviously, it's pretty bleak that so many of them think women's expectation from them are too high. I really didn't think asking someone to commit to a dinner booking was a stretch too far. Who was supposed to pay? Was it an expensive restaurant? Have you expected him to pay so far? If so, he has seen your character, okay? Your character is showing, ma'am. And it's not a good look. And so if your character is showing and it's not a good look, how dare you? Shame him for what he wants to do and what he doesn't want to do. Nowhere in here has it followed up or followed through on the headline of our expectations are too high. She's just like, our expectations are too high for these losers. That's what I'm getting from this. I'm not calling you guys losers. She is. Oh, this is her attitude. Oh, our expectations are too high. Well, it's just because you're not meeting them. Our expectations are too high for you losers. Like I said, words are important. Listen to what she's really saying. It's diabolical. Diabolical. Okay, let's take a break from her and go to a different one. Before we even get started with this one, look at her. She's just like, I just lean on my counter because that's where it works to set my phone up. Right away, she is a veto, okay? Even if she came on here and she was like, seemed like the sweetest person, this, that, and the other, it's like, don't go with an exhibitionist. All right. It's not good. It doesn't reflect well on the character. Once again, your characters are showing, ma'am. And it's not good. Not good. A woman who is going to, with her qualities is not afraid to share it around a lot of times. Most, not all, some, modern, whatever qualifier you want to put on women, choose one. If you think we need to. Anyway, let's hear what she has to say.
I get a lot of questions asking how do you verbalize your standards to guys, especially when they're asking you out on a date that like doesn't meet your standards. And I actually think people overcomplicate this and do some corny shit. I don't think you can change anybody. You cannot force somebody who is a low effort date planner into becoming a high effort date planner. He wants to take you out on a coffee date and you need a dinner date. I just think that's who they are. I'm not going to go ahead and try and change them. I really think the only thing you can do is reject anything that's not what you're looking for. I'm not here to build a bear a man. I want somebody that already aligns with me on this stuff and agrees with me. So a guy who's coming to me asking to go on a coffee date, like,
agrees with me and aligns with me. That's going to be about more than a coffee date or a dinner date. That's going to be about a lot of things. She's going to want you to align with her. Remember, disagreement is disrespect. That's what a lot of women, modern, some, not all, think. You disagree. Oh, you're disrespecting me. How dare you? That phrase is just, thank you, Greta. It's the one contribution little Greta Thunberg or Thunberg or whatever has made, is that little phrase, because of the ridiculousness of it. She's like a little meme. And I am going to read some of, before we let her finish, I'm going to let you read some of the responses from men. This one is from Jeff. Going out for a coffee or a drink is the best first date. You aren't making a major time investment with someone you don't know. I have met women for a drink and it led to dinner that same night. It is not about money or of effort. There is nothing worse than going out to dinner on a first date with someone you know is not a match within 5 minutes. Oh, Jeff, you don't understand. It's not a date. It's a tryout. You're trying out to see if you get the privilege of her time and attention. You don't get to decide what the tryout looks like, right? She does, which tells you everything you need to know. Devil's in the details.
you just don't align. Like my dream man, the guy that I'm looking for, would never offer that. So I just reject these dates. I think that's honestly the only control you do have of the situation.
Control of the situation. Relationships don't start with, I need control and I need you to align. Now, character-wise, values, absolutely align with those things. But how much money you spend on me and time you decide to invest already? No, she's doing a simp study. It's a simp study. Let's see how far he'll go. Let's see if he'll be the type of man that Blondie was talking about earlier. Is he going to carry your bags? Is he going to open the doors? Is he going to trip over himself to serve you, princess?
Whether you give your time to it or not. I think there's nothing cornier than a guy asking you out for coffee and you responding, I don't do low effort dates, plan a dinner. Number one, like I said, corny. Number two, that sounds so entitled. And also these
That sounds so entitled. Don't say it, because then you'll sound entitled. Just think it, and he won't know that you're entitled. Ladies, you're not even making it hard for me. Give me a challenge.
people like don't know you and don't care. Just say no and move on. Say yes to things that align with what you're looking for. Say no to the things that are not. If you have high standards like me, you'll notice you'll be rejecting a lot, but it's going to be worth it in the end when you pick a partner that's super aligned with you.
It's going to be worth it in the end when you're alone. Because, you're likely to be alone. You're just having so many expectations. You're getting out, you're running them off, and the ones who aren't looking for you, ma'am. Did you ever wonder why they may only want to go on a coffee date with you in the beginning? Maybe you haven't impressed them very much so far. Just saying. Maybe if you were to say, I'd like to take you out to dinner. Did that ever occur to you? If he says, I'd like to take you out for coffee, I'm like, I know this great place. I would love to take you out to dinner and get to know you better. We can't do that. Our brains don't even go to that. Our brains don't even go there. Because the idea of serving another person, serving a man, just not on our radar. I mean, the fact you all probably didn't even think that because you're so used to the treatment that you get. You're like, I don't even know how to ask for anything. I don't even expect anything. It's time that the men's expectations went a lot higher. And for a lot of them, they have. All right, back to Olivia and the Independent UK. So she's talking about, I didn't think a dinner date was a stretch too far. But instead of looking at stats like this and weaponizing them or using them as an excuse to shout, men are trash, from our windows while waving our bras in the air, I think we should see them as a sign that it's time for an urgent reset in the heterosexual dating world. Do you see how she's like, I'm not a feminist. I don't wave my bra around like those terrible women, the third wave, whatever wave it was, because none of the waves matter. It's all one tidal wave. You have to be careful. I'm like, I would never say men are trash. Yeah, but if you expect everything of them and you can't think to take them out to dinner, then you think that, okay? You just know not to say it. Like that chick we saw a second ago, you don't want to say that. Then you'll sound entitled. Just be entitled. You have to change. You can't just change how you act. You can't just rebrand and go, well, this isn't working for my trap. It takes more than that. They're seeing through it, and I'm here to call it out. Because single men and women don't know how to communicate anymore. It's like we're all too delusioned or siloed into our respective social media echo chambers. Yeah. Yeah, because we're talking about you now. On one side, there are memes about men love bombing you the day before they ghost you. And on the other hand, there are Andrew Tate videos about why women should clean more. It sounds extreme because it is. Imagine. It's fine. I'm not going to go into that. There's no time. It is extreme because its dating app algorithms are pushing us farther apart ideologically and hanky-pankily. That one's for you, AA Strumming, in the chat. Hankily-pankily. It's making all of us depressed, lonely, and deeply frustrated. Yeah, I agree. Something has to change soon. Otherwise, the future looks grim and possibly filled with a bunch of AI-generated boyfriends and girlfriends and a smattering of real-life people who've forgotten how to talk to one another. Yeah, that sounds like you're scared. But it doesn't sound like you think you should change. I mean, if you're a perfect princess, it dropped the pepperonis. If you're a perfect princess, you're not going to think you have to change. Why should you? Right? So, on that note, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please hit the like on the video, share it to other platforms, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. go on over to Far From Eden Clips. That channel is something we're trying to, get going. So we have a place to drop shorter segments of these longer videos. So if you wouldn't mind going over there and give it a like and check out some of the clips over there, so we can get it some traction. Anyways, thanks for being here, you guys. Hang in there. Hang in there. You're starting to feel the pain. They're starting to say this stuff, which is not a green flag, but it's closer to it. So I'm going to be out here watching for you. Don't worry. You don't have to come back. You don't have to come back to the plantation to see what's going on over here and see if the women have changed or if they've gotten it yet. I'll watch out. I will be the one that finds that out. It might take a while, but lean on each other. Brotherhood's important. Protect your peace. Feed your souls. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.